Geek Myths, a novel about life, love, and the pursuit of sonic screwdrivers. Available in paperback and Kindle edition from Amazon.
Scanning for audio.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a truly remarkable book. In the entry in which it talks about dying of asphyxiation 30 seconds after being thrown out of a spaceship, it goes on to say that what with space being the size it is, the chances of being picked up by another craft within those seconds are 2 to the power of 267,709 to 1 against.
Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast. This time talking about Story 2 from 2018, that's on the TV, The Ghost Monument. Now, it's traditional for story number 2 to be the story where we actually get to see the Doctor at their most, doctory. Think about it. This is after the aftermath of regeneration. This is where the Doctor gets to, be themselves. They're probably in their costume by this point. In fact, they are. And they're wandering around solving stuff. But obviously, after 55 years, things have to develop and move on. Now, obviously, you've got that opening. Yeah, I know you heard the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy bit about being thrown out of an airlock and having to survive. But as we already know all this, that's fine. And as I pointed out last time, not all the kids watching Doctor Who these days are going to be familiar with a TV programme from 1980. So let's let that one slide. And of course, the business with the sentient killer towels. We should always know where your towel is. But it's not about 42, although that was of course a fixed narrative story. I'm off topic already. Well done me. Yes, I could talk about great length about the brand new TARDIS and all sorts. But that's not what I'm here to discuss, as well you know. I've got a few notes I'll work my way through, as is my wont. Now, after the episode finished, of course, I got a couple of texts. I think these might become tradition. First off, the one from my dad. Well done the Vogons. These are hitchhikers. And, of course, killer towels. Yeah, me and my dad definitely on the same page there. And the other text I received, the one from my mum, bringing it up, even better than last week. Yep, again, reviews kind of split in the good old Gilroy household. Did I like it? Well, it did have the feel of it had the feel of an old new adventure book. It was fairly linear in narrative, but that's all right, it's TV. Yes, I wasn't as happy as I could have been, but it was tiny little niggles that annoyed me. Things like, and I know it was done for incredible cinematic reasons. You've got Bradley, you've got his not grandson, sat on a boat discussing the passing of their loved ones, and yes, I know it was done to illustrate the space between them, and it's been done in widescreen and all that business, but it was a two-shot. Let the acting tell us how they feel. You don't have to. It was as if the actors had fallen out and you had to shoot them separately, and this was the best way of doing it. I didn't enjoy that at all. Now, of course, being an old school Doctor Who fan, I thought there was a continuity error. I did. Because obviously she goes in her pocket and gives Bradley's character some sunglasses. Thinking that they're Audrey Hepburn's. Or some ancient Greek guys, which of course he didn't have glasses. Well, you didn't see him after that. But if you watch it back on iPlayer with the subtitles, what Jodie actually says is that they are like the ones, because obviously there's nothing in her pockets because her pockets were empty. She had empty pockets. There was a huge thing made out of it in the first series. So these are not Audrey Hepburn's sunglasses. They're sunglasses from the charity shop. Again, there was the thing about the universal translator. which backs up my theory from last week that Tim Shaw knows English, because there was no translation going on, unless you get that from the Doctor, because they've made such a big thing about aliens around the world not speaking English. But now they're used to it. It doesn't really matter, but these things do. So now they've all got implanted stuff. Bradley, of course, is coming to the fore with his comedy, and it's working great. The idea of the Stenza being the big bad of the series, not as sold as I could be, but I can see that it makes sense. You buy a load of leather for someone and then just do their head. And of course they've got that whole smoke thing coming out the back. You know, years ago, if someone had said, killed my wife, she killed mine too, and it was a woman speaking, would have been major headlines in the Doctor Who world. Now nobody even bats an eyelid. And you know what? That's so good. It's brilliant. There would have been rebellion against the likes of Captain Jack, but now we just don't care. Get on with the plot, move on. And that's what we're left with. It's lovely. So the business with the pockets, I'll let you off. The business with the translation, I'll let you off. However, the design of the new TARDIS, am I A, just not liking it, or B, just not liking it because it's new and I haven't given it enough time? I'm not fond of the crystals. I'm not fond of the Shirotsky TARDIS spinning round. And you know what? Even the biscuit delivery system. Can you see Tesco's having a little TARDIS-shaped tin in the shops for Christmas full of, say, custard creams or jammy Dodgers and that kind of thing? It would sell. Well, by it would sell, I mean I'd buy one. You know the title, The Ghost Monument? I should have seen it coming. I really should. Just like the Bells of St. John. It was so obvious what it was, and yet I still thought that we'd have a whole series of the Doctor trolling around the universe trying to find the TARDIS. Now, let's talk towel monsters for a moment. Yes, some people have said they're like ribbons, and yes, they did speak, and yes, they said stuff about, the child outside of time, the timeless child. Yeah, so we're all going to be coming back to that one, I think, in a Moffat-y kind of way. Which is how modern television works. We just have to put up with it and get on with it. On the subject, though, of how modern television works, we didn't have a cold opening. We went straight into the titles. Is this a sign of things to come? Now, my wife did point out that it did just look like the inside of somebody's stomach about to be sick, and then the sick was expelled from their stomach into the night. I suspect she was being a bit too literal, but it did look just a tad biological for my liking. Perhaps it's biospace from Voyager, and perhaps it's not. You know the business with the clicky fingers? With the cigar? These are just the notes I'm going through. I hope you don't mind. I am in a little bit of a hurry. Normally I'm slightly more structured than this, but these are all points I needed to make, and you know what, as my friend, I needed to make them to you, because you're willing to listen. The guy has his cigar. He mentions it. And then he mentions it again, and how it ignites. In a kind of a Hannibal, I love it when a plan comes together kind of a way. But because it's been mentioned so many times, you know it's kind of more important. Yeah. Chekhov's cigar, rather than Chekhov's gun, because it's loaded earlier on and you mention it so that it can pay off. Because let's face it, it's sci-fi. We've only got a small amount of time. The sets looked great. The locations looked great. Yes, it did feel a bit Lord of the Ringsy when the boat was going out across the lake, but that was nice. I couldn't work out whether it was a real boat or a CGI'd one, and that's really cool. Very well made, very well performed, as always. Yes, Art Malik was a pain, but he was playing a pain, and he was doing it remarkably well. I did love the way that at the end they reached the destination and then they said, right, that's it. And as far as the narrative was concerned, those characters were not needed anymore, and with a click of the fingers they were gone. I am so glad that the Whittaker Doctor didn't click her fingers to open the TARDIS door. Be nice to your time machine. I was expecting her to climb up and get a key from behind the P, a la the 1996 movie. But you know what? The TARDIS had redecorated, and she likes it. I'm not fond of the giant plastic, well, let's call them Dragonfire-style plastic crystals. They just looked a bit cheap, but the thing I really didn't like was their little spinny crystal TARDIS. Will it grow on me? I'll get used to it. It might not be my favourite. And as for the Mercedes-themed walls, they're just mismatched, misaligned bits of MDF as far as I could see. You could create the whole TARDIS yourself, using bits of cardboard and some plates that you've cut round, and then slide the pieces of cardboard behind so they're slightly out of kilter with each other, and so on. Perhaps I just haven't seen enough TARDIS. I suspect that's what it is. Next time, we've got the Pseudo-Celebrity Historical. Yay! We're not exactly fitting in with the same order of things in the past, but it is important that with Doctor Who, you've got to educate and inform as well as entertain. And this, for someone in the UK, is going to be educational. Because let's face it, we're not taught half as much about the Deep South as we could be. And by Deep South, I mean America. I'm not talking Cornwall. Or is that the South? I believe so. I'm stuck in Yorkshire. I know nothing. And so with that, I'll fade away and let you get on with your lives. And speak to you very soon, probably about Doctor Who. So until next time, be seeing you. That was the Doctor Who Tin Dog Podcast, available on iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, RSS, Vimeo, and across the internet. Doctor Who and its associated properties are all copyright and trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Why not become a supporter by visiting patreon.com/tindog. Contact the show on tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.